So, hello again YouTube. My name is Hans and welcome to my channel and to this episode of Darktable Insights. Darktable is one of the best free tools for organizing and editing your photos. Today I'm going to take a look at adjusting color balance and also adjusting individual colors. So let's get started. One of the most obvious methods of adjusting color balance is white balance. It's also the first one in the pipeline in Darktable, so that's where we'll start. And today again we'll start with this grayscale, which is very nice to use for demonstrating things. I'll also bring up the waveform again and we'll open the white balance module. Here we have a whole range of controls. The most obvious one is the temperature, so we drag the temperature to the right to make the image warmer, and to the left to make it cooler. Also there's this tint control. So reset the temperature. This will go between a greenish tint and magenta to the left. Like that. So you can see here it's just adjusting the color channels, the red, green and blue channels. And at the very right edge of the image, in the whites, we get clipping. So the white stays white. That's the red and blue channels are clipping when we're going towards magenta. If we go back and we go towards green, and what we're doing is lowering the red and blue so we don't get clipping that way. That's because you can see down here we have sliders for red, green and blue channels, and you can see if we adjust temperature up and down, or we adjust the tint, only the red and blue channels are moving, and green is staying at 1. So the other thing we can do is, if we reset these, we can also drag the red, green and blue channels directly if we want to. Now there's also a list of presets. But since this grayscale is not a raw image, we don't have the list available to us, so we'll come back to that. Now let's take a look at the real image. Now let's look at the presets. This is the camera, like the camera saw it. I had the automatic white balance in camera, and this is the result from it. And then you have something called camera neutral, which is 6500 Kelvin. We have spot, where you get this frame up. So by default it's like an automatic white balance for the whole image, but you can drag out this square to set an area that you want to be neutral. So let's say we take a more colored area, like the grass, just for demonstrations. Then we make the whole image magenta. And also we have presets for daylight, for shade, cloudy, and also tungsten, which is artificial light, like normal light bulbs. They're very warm, so an outdoor image will get extremely blue with this balance. There's also fluorescent lights and flash, which is more or less like daylight, just a slight difference there. Also at the bottom we have this fine-tuning, which is available when we have this when we use these presets. So you can fine-tune the color balance to a bit cooler or a bit warmer. And that gives a different result actually from adjusting the temperature directly, because this one is also adjusting the tint at the same time. If you take a look at both temperature and tint as I adjust it, if you go between the extremes, you can see the tint is also adjusted a little bit. But it gives a slightly different result. So for now we'll stay with shade, I think, since the sun has gone down and the whole area here is in shade. Then we'll go back to our grayscale image. We'll reset the white balance and we will open up the color balance module. This one is, as you can see, divided into 3 parts. The upper part is called lift, which affects the lowlights, the shadows and the blacks. Gamma affects the midtones, and gain affects the highlights. And it's also 4 sliders for each group: factor, red, green and blue. And the factor is like levels. It's, if you take the lift and increase it and you lift the blacks, and you can see it's a linear correction with nothing at the white point and most correction at the black point. You can take it the other way down, and then it becomes like the black adjustment in the levels module. The difference is that this one goes both ways. So I guess I should have mentioned this also in the episode about adjusting tone, but I simply forgot it. Now the next one, gamma, that's adjusting the midtones, leaving the black and white points like this, and also the gain is affecting the whites and less towards the blacks. So this we can use for color balance. We can take the red up and down, and also the greens and the blues. And as you can see, if we let's say we want to make the image blue in the whites, and we increase the blues, but then we get clipping up here in the blue channel and the whites stay white, then we have 2 options. One is to drag down the exposure a bit. I'll just do it in the histogram here, like that, so that the blue channel doesn't clip anymore. Or we can, instead of increasing blue, we can lower both the greens and the red. That gives the same effect. It also gives a bit better control about what kind of blue we want. If we want it to be a little bit greener or a little bit more magenta. More towards cyan or magenta. So we can balance the exact tone of blue, or the exact hue, a bit better. And also the same, of course, goes for midtones and the blacks. So if we take a look at this guy, this is a Galapagos tortoise from the Jersey Zoo in the Jersey Channel Islands. So here I already have a few settings made. I'll turn on the module and I have lowered the gamma to increase the contrast, also increase the whites a bit, and I make it bluer by reducing red and green. So if I reset the module, I'll make it a bit cooler by increasing the blues. Or I can do it by reducing the greens and the reds. And then I have to increase the gain to maintain the brightness. Or I could of course increase the exposure. But I think that gives a slightly different result. Let's see if we... I think I have to use my normal histogram again. If we increase the gain up to where we almost hit white up here, and then we bring out the left panel and we take a snapshot. And we reset this and we drag up the exposure to do the same thing. Around here. And then we can compare them. This is with the exposure adjusted and this is with the gain adjusted. So the gain adjustment in the color balance module gave a much better result, I think, with better contrast. And that's something to remember. If you can do the same thing in different modules, then they often give slightly different results. So it's a matter of finding the right one. I'll turn off the snapshot again and hide this panel. And then we will reset the exposure and take it back here. Okay, then we'll reset this module and turn it off, and we'll take a look at color zones again. We had a look at this module last time, but this time we'll adjust the colors and not instead of the saturation. So what I thought about doing, I think maybe I'll just increase the saturation a bit first, not in the tone curve but in the color correction. So maybe we'll see better what we're doing. Like that. Back to color zones. Let's pick out the greens in the grass. You can use the color dropper and put it on the green grass. Then we can adjust this point so we pick up exactly this point. So we pick up exactly this color, and we'll take this one bring it in a bit so it don't affect so much of the yellows. Then we can okay, now we're on lightness. So we will reset the module again. We'll go to U. Then we can adjust this point to get the color we want, and also bring in the yellow point a bit. And then we can take this green and turn it more yellow, so it dies. So there's no more fresh green grass. It all suddenly died. And then we can do the same with the saturation. Bring the saturation down a bit. It's really dead. So if we reset, we can also, we mentioned this one last time, you can select by hue, by saturation, by lightness. So you can also go by, let's say we go by saturation and we adjust hue. We can take the least saturated colors or the most saturated colors and adjust the hue of just them. I don't know how useful it is, but it's a possibility. Also, the tone curve can be used to adjust color balance. Of course, in the L channel we're just adjust the tones. We've been doing that before, so I won't go into that again. But in the A and B channels, if we double click to bring out the curve, now we can drag the midpoint of this curve up to make the image more magenta, or drag it down to make it more green. We can go in the B channel and make it yellow or blue. The last module for color balance adjustments is the color correction module. Here we have the whole color circle, and there's a white point in the middle. Drag that out and you change the colors of the image. And this white point actually represents the whites in the image. So if we go back for a moment to our grayscale, drag out the whites, and we use the waveform. You can see we amplify the reds and reduce the blues in this case. I can drag it around the circle. I get all the different colors. And also when we drag away this white point, we get a black point here. And that adjusts the blacks in our image. So we can put in some blues in the blacks and some orange in the whites. And we get a split tone. Obviously we can drag them to in the same direction as well and get an even color on the whole image. So if we go back to our turtles, we can make the highlights warm We can make the shadows cool. Or we can cool down the whole image. Now the biggest problem with this module, as far as I can see, is that you have to drag out the whites first if you want to access the blacks, because it sits on top. So if you only want to drag out the blacks, then you have to take the whites back again. But you can double click it to reset, like this. So I hope this has given you some ideas about how to adjust color balance in Darktable. That's all for today. Next time we'll take a look at all the different ways to reduce noise in Darktable. There are quite a few. If you like this channel, please hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode. And I'd be very happy if you check out my other outlets online. Follow me on Instagram and like my Facebook page. All links are in the description. And if there's anything in Darktable that you'd like me to talk about, then please let me know in the comments. See you next time. Bye!